What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Inner Circle podcast. Spring is springing. The weather outside is not frightful, it's fucking brightful. Welcome to the Inner Circle podcast. I hope wherever you guys were at today, you guys had the amazing weather that we got to experience here in New York. Doesn't the spring puts you in such a vibrant, good energy, good mood? I'm excited. The last few days has been gorgeous in New York, and I'm excited for the spring weather and enjoying it before summer comes and it gets chaotic and crazy. Because in spring we all happy, in these streets, but summer comes and then we all start acting fucking wild and crazy. So let's enjoy the spring. I'm excited. So much going on. A very, very busy spring for me for sure. Just thinking about my May in general alone, I have so much going on in May. There's always a podcast, but then there's personal life and all that shit. So it gets crazy and hectic in May. But I'm excited. Busy is good sometimes, right? Busy is good. Today, I know you guys are maybe expecting for a window to pop up or something, introduce my squirrel friend. But no, it's me, myself, and I. We have no guests today. But we have a special edition of the podcast where I am answering questions on our Instagram page. We were asking people to send in questions, and even this week myself talking to people just outside of this, people I work with and stuff. Good conversation stuff came up where it's like, you know what, I'm definitely gonna talk about that on my podcast. So going to answer it. Some it's like, listen, I'm an open book for the most part. Some of the questions I'm like, damn, do I want to ask that and put myself in that position, or actually use that question for the show and put myself in that position to answer? But for the most part, I like to think I'm an open book. For the most part, I don't like to think. I know I'm an open. For the most part, I'm an open book. And so I'm like, you know what? Why not? So I have some questions for you guys. We're doing that. Plus, I also want to go through also on our Instagram page. If you're not following us on Instagram, you're missing out. Also on our Instagram page, we did a cool little poll. We do polls here and there. And listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Love it when the participation gets going on the Instagram poll page and people are voting. I love to see it. So we're definitely going to discuss some of that. But let's get to some of these questions. Ask Charlie, man. Ask Charlie. So here we go. Like I said, some of these questions, I'm not gonna lie. Some of these questions I do kind of had the answer prepared and shit, because it's like, but some of them I just either wrote it down. Some of them I know were set to the phone, so I have to look at my phone, whatever. And I'm going to try to get through as much of them as I can. But if I don't do them all in the main show, tune into the after show where I'll answer 2 or 3 questions. But let's get it started. Let's toast and let's get it started with these questions. So one of the questions, I have it all written down in my handy dandy notebook. One of the questions is, at what I'm just gonna go random because it's all written down. I have some on my phone or whatever. But at what age did you lose your V card, your virginity? Well, I don't have a V card. They call V cards for women, right? I believe they call it V card for women because it makes sense. But my virginity, I lost my virginity, and here we go. I don't know if I said that on the show before, but I was 12 years old. 12 years old. I think when I was younger, I was proud to say that. But now it's like a little cringy as you get older, and you're like, yeah, I lost my virginity at 12 years old. But yeah, 12 years old. Listen, I mean, no regrets, whatever. Another one. Do you and Mel ever have Melanie have opposing views? Do you and Melanie ever have opposing views? Yes. Listen, we're best friends. Melanie and I may be best friends and such, but everyone, we're human. We all have different views. So, it's to say like we agree on everything. And I think even on the show, it's very evident, on the podcast that there's been times where we do not agree with each other. And we have different views, but you know, that's what makes us friends too. You don't want someone. First of all, I wouldn't want to be friends with someone who is just a yes man and always, yes and agree with what I say and love you what I. No, I want someone to challenge me as well. Just the same way, I wouldn't want someone to be my co-host on a podcast that's gonna be like, yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah. Like, yes, we agree. We're best friends. We have a lot of similarities and things we agree on, but there's things that we definitely have are different opposing views. So let's continue going. How how do you continue, how do you keep the momentum going as best friends and co-hosts of the podcast? So I guess this is also for, as a me and Melanie question, but speaking for myself, some of these questions I could, maybe when Melanie's back I could ask her, but speaking for myself, um the momentum, how do you keep it going? Listen, I'm, and I could say it now, and I feel comfortable saying now, I'm an artistic person. Where before, if someone asked me, like, what are you? I'm many things, but now I'm proud to say I'm also an artist. I'm someone who likes to create. And um, I always have ideas. It's great that Melanie's also has great ideas as well, and we just be bouncing things off each other. Once again, it ties into the other question. We don't always agree with some of the things we may bring to the table, or ideas we, we think we should talk about topics or whatever, or even games. But it's just listening to each other and just brainstorming and just shooting back ideas back and forth with each other. I know when I have an idea, I like, voice text real quick, like, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? I write it down. So, that's a way of keeping the momentum. And I think also what makes it greater, again, speaking for myself, of keeping the momentum as best co-hosts and best friends, is that we already did things before. Like, as best friends, we do activities. We go to freaking, this or that, or restaurants, or some pop-up, whatever. We like to do that. So now it makes it even more fun, because sometimes when we do some of these things, we could cover it as content for the show, to bring to you people. And because we love all that entertainment and all that stuff, so why not share that as part of who we are on our podcast? So I think it makes it even more fun, and an added fun layer now that we're doing this together. But yeah, again, we don't always agree with some things, on what to do, and topics and this and that. So let's keep it going with some more questions. Okay, my boyfriend doesn't say I love you around his friends. What should I do? Okay, my boyfriend doesn't say I love you as much around his friends. I'm sorry. Some of these questions I've gotten, and I write it, and then I have to understand my own damn fucking chicken scratch. But what should you do? Like, well, I mean, if your boyfriend is telling you I love you many times, not around his friends, and or he doesn't say I love you. That's what he doesn't say I love you around his friends. Listen, if he says I love you around, like, a lot to you, I mean, I don't know if he says I love you a lot to you when y'all by yourselves one on one. Is it just around his friends? Does he say it around like closer people like his family? I would need more context to give advice to that, but I don't know. That's a hard one. I don't want to be out here making people break up, but I mean, you just have to evaluate, and also like how long has the relationship been going on. And I don't know if he says it enough, like one on one. Maybe some people are not comfortable like saying it around their friends like that, or around their families. Again, maybe they don't think y'all been dating that long, and maybe they think their friends or family are gonna judge them or something. So it all depends. It's all situational. That's the best I can answer that. Next question. Do you think someone loses themselves when they enter a relationship? I've been single for a few years because of this. This one I had to use. I personally think People shouldn't lose themselves. And as I'm getting older, I'm realizing like, listen, I've lost myself before in relationships, and I've said that. So as you get older, it's like, no, you have to maintain your individuality. And that's why they do say as you get older, it gets harder to date. It's something I heard when I was young, and I'm like, why? Like, it's not. You get older, you figure it out. No, it's like you figure out shit you won't deal with anymore. And I don't know, the game changes a little bit of things you won't put up with that you did before when younger than when you're getting older. So with that being said, I wouldn't let the fear of losing myself get me like, get into a relationship. But, I just think my advice would be try and then like talk to the person about the importance of you maintaining your individuality. And it's just all about communication and that dialogue between each other. You don't have to lose yourself, but one thing I would say is when you do decide to enter a partnership, that's what you're doing. When you get into a relationship, you're entering a partnership with someone, and there are some things that need to be curtailed. Again, it doesn't mean you as an individual have to change yourself, but I do believe there's some things in essence when now you're in a relationship should change. It shouldn't look the same as when you're single, if that makes any sense. So hopefully that answered that. Next question. This one, I'm like, this was a shady one. I mean, not a shady one, but a hard one for me. And I wish Melanie was on with this one because I would have just thrown the curve to her to answer this. But favorite sibling. Well, as you guys know, I have four other brothers. There's five boys, and for me, listen, favorite sibling, I myself can't answer. I know there's siblings out there, groups of siblings that yeah, they have each other like, okay, that's my favorite sibling, or that's my favorite sibling. Just like they say, like there's parents out there that have, a favorite child, whatever. I mean, I guess it happens. But speaking for myself, listen, maybe my brothers with themselves have their own favorite siblings, but speaking for myself, growing up, five boys, it was like a wolf pack. You know what I mean? Like we were already like we were strong and we went through so much growing up. So like that had like a bond and love. Like there's a love there and a bond because of just us growing up, just the bond we had growing up and what we've dealt with in just life. So there's that. So I love all my brothers and we all have a bond. Now, if the question would have been who's the funniest, maybe, or who's the grumpiest, something like that, I could have answered better. But I'm pulling a PR stunt where it's like, I don't have a favorite sibling just because I look at us, speaking for myself, as a like core five strong group. And it's like a boy band. Sometimes it's like we should have fucking been a boy band. Like I love all my brothers equally the same. And it's we have a bond. We have a bond. So it's like I don't necessarily have a favorite sibling. Each sibling, and I feel like each sibling brings something different. And that's like for anyone in life, even in friends. Like we all individuals, so we all bring something different. But no favorites. Now, if y'all want to be specific for the next round of Ask Charlie, y'all could be like, who's the funny? Y'all could be more specific and put me on the hot seat. I know I fucking spun my way out of that question, answering that directly, but one thing you would never change about yourself, I guess myself. One thing I would never change about myself is actually my open mindedness and my ability, even when it fucks me over in the past, my ability to try to see the best and good in people. That's one thing I will never change, because if I change that and go in this crazy world, like just numb and just mad and angry and grumpy at this fucked up world and everything that's been fucked up to me, it would just be like I'd rather live optimistic and being optimistic and hoping to see just the good in people. Like call me a dreamer, call me delusional, but I'd rather just live like that, being an optimistic person, an open-minded person, and seeing the best in people, or trying anyways to see the best in people. But I like that question that was sent in. Um, what's your source of motivation? Another good question that I like. My source of motivation. I think as of late, I've always tried to be self-motivating because I'm sorry, there's no one. People could motivate you in life. There's friends, there's family that could like be like, yeah, you do. People could motivate you, but there's no one that's gonna motivate you the best but yourself. You have to be willing to fucking motivate yourself and push yourself to like, this is my goal, I'm gonna do that, or this is what I want to do, or I don't like where I'm sitting right now in life, I have to go harder, I have to do this, I have to change something so I don't feel this way. Is this whether it goes for so many things across the board when it comes to your life. It could even apply to like fitness. You want to change your ways, you don't like how you feel, you have to be your best, your biggest cheerleader, your motivator. So for me, it's just knowing that one, life's too short. After losing my mom, I would say losing someone close, like a parent, changes you in many different ways. And for me, I just look at life as I don't want to waste my life. I'm very blessed and thankful that I still have life and that I get to wake up every day. So for me, it's like I push myself to be the best version of myself. No, life is not perfect, and I be saying this in my nuggets, but it's like you have to continue the grind of just try and waking up every day, be your own motivator. Like no one's gonna get you to the gym, no one's gonna get you over here, no one's gonna get you that house, that car, or whatever your goals are, but yourself. You have to be your biggest motivator and just know that life's too short. So go hard and just try every day to be the best and go for what you want. Great question. Another one. I like this one as well. I was back and forth whether I wanted vacillating whether I wanted to like talk about get into this next thing, but advice on battling addiction. Um, and I will be open because I like to be, like I said, I'm an open book and stuff. I've dealt with, addiction in my family, and I've seen it since I was young, addiction in my family. So, it's a hard thing. It's very hard. My advice with battling addiction, that's very touchy, and I'm not no PhD. I'm not no medic. Sometimes my friends and people may think I could be a good psychiatrist therapist, but I'm not fucking certified. So it's very hard for me to answer that. But what I could say is think about your friends. But not your friends. First of all, think about your family. Think about the people closest to you, your family. Think about your friends. If you have kids, think about your kids. You know, with all these overdoses out here, you know what I mean? Like fentanyl being laced and stuff, you just don't want to fuck up. You don't want to be that casualty. You know what I'm saying? Like there's more to life. And I know, I'm not like, I watch documentaries of people, celebs who are addicts and stuff, like the Demi Lovato's and stuff. We've talked about it before and stuff. And I sit in awe, like, wow, like people really battle it. So for me to sit here and try to be like, oh, it's easy. I will feel like I'm slapping an addict in the face and I'm not really walking completely in their shoes. But my only advice would be like, think about the people in your life that matter. And again, I'm someone who cherishes life. Like, although we live in such a fucked up world, and sometimes I think like, wow, like what's all this? Why me? Why this? Why all this going on? But it's one life we have, and you just gotta like cherish that. And like, and it sucks when you leave people behind. The pain that like the people you're leaving behind and the way it could change them. So it's like, think about those things. That's the best advice I could give on, battling addiction. And then there's a good therapist, and then there's also rehab. That's a nice way to smooth it over. My next question, and I was prepared for this one. Do you have a skincare routine? And I'm very proud to say I've been someone that's always, for the most part, tried to take care of myself throughout the years. I remember being like 18, 19, people calling me, oh, you're metrosexual. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. But like, as I've gotten older, especially recently, I've gotten even more excited about my skincare routine. And like, it sounds fucking dorky as fuck, but like one of those things that you look forward to come home after a long day and just like decompress, take a nice shower, wash your face, then put on like your products that feel good. And listen, I have no endorsement with this girl, this lady right now, but I have to say, Rihanna, Riri, holla at your fellow Pisces over here. You want me to plug your stuff and give me a spot or something on Fenty Skin? I'll even do the underwear. I've been in the gym, so I could do the underwear too. But since I have a lot of the Savage Fenty as well. But my skincare routine, honest to God, guys, and I'm not gonna plug this if I didn't really believe in it. Like I've been raving about it, even to my boyfriend. Like, oh my God. First, I start with the eye cream, which is amazing. It's called the Flash Nap, and literally, I've tried Clinique, little eye stuff or whatever. I've tried other high brand stuff, and it's like, this right here, no lie, as soon as you put it on, you instantly feel like your freaking bags, like this under eye area, like breathe, like a breath of fresh air. Like you definitely feel it instantly. And I've never felt that with any other, no bullshit, with any other cream. Like, and again, I have the top before, like the Jack Blacks, the Clinique, and all that. She did that with this, and I didn't buy it with the roller on, but she does have it in a package where I guess you could get it with like this roller on thing, which I suggest. I didn't get it, but I definitely have to invest in that. Amazing. And then after this, it's not just a one step, it's a 1, 2 step, 3. But after this, I apply the instant reset, which also shout out. I heard great things about this for years, but I never purchased it. Shout out to my boyfriend as well, who had it, and I so happened to try it, and I was like, whoa. You apply it at night, and it like basically, when you wake up in the morning and you have like that dawn, sometimes dry, tired, you just slept, basically waking up phase. Well, not so much when you use this. No bullshit. Like you wake up with like kind of like that smooth, a little smoother face, like a little more refreshed. And again, it's not too heavy. Like I'm someone who sweats easily. Especially even in my sleep. Even in my sleep, I wake up a little freaking perspired sometimes, depending if it's hot. So like cream, I'm not the biggest, like putting creams on my face sometimes is like, oh, especially in the summer stuff. But this right here, no, and this right here, amazing. And then I follow it all in the morning. I do to hydrate my lips and such. I do the cherry treat conditioner lip oil. And I'm waiting for that plush one for the nighttime, but it's sold out. But yeah, I do this. So that's my skincare routine for right now. Fenty Skin, no bullshit. Like Rihanna, like she's doing the thing, and there's no surprise. She's like sitting on top Forbes magazine, making billions of this skincare and her freaking lingerie line, because it's good shit. It's good shit. So that's my skincare routine. I was definitely ready for that. When I asked about that one. Let's see. There's some other questions. Have you and Mel ever had a big enough fight to not talk for days? Huh. Another question. I was like, I could leave this on the cutting room floor or answer it, but I like to be real. And although we're thick as thieves, we're Robin and Batman. The dynamic duo that we've been calling each other that for years, go back years. In our Instagram, we've been hashtagging that years ago. Although we're thick as Steve and Thelma and Louise and all the fucking names of a duo that you can name us, yes, there was a point in time where Melanie and I stopped talking for days. It was back in 2000. I'm not going to go into specifics because the question didn't ask for specifics. But it was back in 2014, and it lasted, honestly, and if I'm going to be honest, I remember it was like September 2014, and then we resumed speaking January of 2015. But that was that was 2014, and that was like honestly one of our biggest disagreements, if you would say, or something. And that's that. But listen, it happens with again, friends have disagreements, best friends, siblings, family members, relationships, everyone has disagreements. So it's like, it happens. But yes, it did happen. That did happen. It was actually months, not days. So there you go. But specifics, we're not gonna go there. What else do I have for you guys that you guys sent in? I know there was a few more questions. So let me look. All right, here is another one. So what's your advice on remaining friends with an ex? Um it's situational because I would say there's some exes that I'm friendly with. Um, that I would say I'm like somewhat friendly with. Do we talk every day? Do we text? Things like that? No. Maybe a hi once in a blue moon or a happy birthday type of thing or a Merry Christmas or something very random like that. Yes. Follow each other on socials. Yes. But it's situational because then there's exes that's like no. No thanks. There's some exes that really thought with me in particular that we were gonna be friends. And it's like no. And I told this particular ex when this ex was saying that, oh, I know we're gonna be best friends after this. I know we're gonna be friends even though we didn't work out. And you know what was my fucking goddamn honest truth answer to him that I would say to him, don't hold your breath because you will literally die. And I mean, if he was holding his breath still, he would have literally been dead because nah. Um, so it's situational, but then there's other exes that I'm like friendly from afar with. I don't know. I feel like you have to be careful with that because it's a touchy situation. I know my first relationship ever, my first boyfriend, he was like this to his ex, like this, where it was uncomfortable for me. So it could be uncomfortable for other people, and you, I guess, yourself will have to, I don't know, like be the deciding factor if you want to do that. Like, I don't know. It could be uncomfortable. Um, how you approach someone you're interested in? Honestly, with this question, and I've said that I've talked about, I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast, but I've definitely mentioned it before. I've said it on the podcast that I'm shy, and a lot of people don't believe that. I'm as outgoing as I may be and all that stuff. And it's like, how can you be shy? And you're like putting yourself up. I am shy, and I'm not really an approacher. Um, I'm not saying I would like. I'm not really an approacher. So how do you approach someone? I don't know, but I would say, okay, to maybe answer it and not like leave the question flat. You know, something I used to do back in the day, because obviously I'm not out in the market right now, but something back in the day, I guess, of a way to try to pick someone up or approach in a sense. If I'm in a club, I would, just the smizing. The smizing, especially when you already have like those kind of somewhat like drunk eyes. And you're like even more like, so that's what I would do. I would smize from across the room, lock eyes, and then they lock eyes, and then it's like a type of thing for a little bit, and then it's like they come over and they will come over, and then that's that. So that's, I guess, what I would, the most I do with approaching or did with approaching. Someone asked body count. Too much to count. I'm a guy of a certain age, and I'm not ashamed. Um, what has been this question too? And I kind of answered this with tied into other questions. What has been the process after losing someone close to you? Um, and listen, these questions sometimes is like, but I'm someone who has gone through something like that. So if I've always said if I could help someone um deal with something similar, by all means. But the process is an ebb and flow. Honestly, I will bring up my mom. Is going on 4 years this year, um, and where it feels sometimes it gets easier. Sometimes you just have more questions, and sometimes it's just like, damn. And certain moments that happen that you wish your parent was still there, and I don't know. But for me, as much as there's lows, there's also highs because it also motivates me to like be the best. It also motivates me to make my mom proud. Because I know she's up there somewhere watching me and my brothers and protecting us and rooting for us. She was our biggest fucking fan. So for me, it's an ebb and flow. There's sadness, there's like, but then there's this push to try to be the best I could be to make her proud, because I know she's watching. I know she's watching over me. So, it's an ebb and flow. I guess that's the best way I could say. There's an ebb and flow. There's good, and then there's bad. But you have to stay strong. Stay strong. It fucking sucks, but you have to stay strong, and just carry on, because our loved ones will want us to do that. So, yeah, that's the thing. That's best advice. That's what I've gone through. What will you do? Oh, okay, so what will you do if you wanted to have another kid, but your husband doesn't want to? Um, this question, I feel honestly, it was easy for me. Like I picked this question as well because I'm like, you know what? It's easy. That's something honestly. Before you have the first kid, you should have determined in conversation when dating. Now, I understand if, like, let's say you meet someone, that's one of the first things you say, how many kids? And in the first few dates, even if it's not on the first date, but in the first few dates, even month or 2 or 3, it changes or it's revealed, oh, I only want 1 kid or 2 kids, but you want 3, then it's like, okay, well, and there's no compromise there, then exit left. Honestly, that's a conversation that should be had at the top of the bat. So if I don't know if this conversation was had with the person who asked the question, I'm not saying no names. I'm not saying I don't know if this conversation took place at first, but if it didn't, it should have. If it did, I don't know what that looked like. If it changed for him after being with you and after agreeing initially, then that's fucked up. And I can see where you will be in a tough position in that sense. If it did change, if he did agree or say a certain number initially and now it's changed. But to be devil's advocate, you have to assess your situation. Has it changed for him? Maybe because, listen, we are living in a fucking world that money, like, look at the groceries nowadays. Like, you spend $100 on groceries and it's like, and it's like one bag. So you don't know what maybe for him he's thinking or feeling, or maybe why he doesn't want to have another kid. But that's where communication comes in. And if you have a strong communication bond with your partner, he should be able to talk to you and express those things. Hopefully that helps. But I guess that's a bulk of the questions. We also had this fun thing before we leave with the questions. Hopefully this was fun. I like doing this. This was fun. And I want you guys to ask more questions out there, especially on the Inner Circle podcast. I know there's more people that want to ask questions and advice, so definitely shoot it. Don't be scared. Don't be nervous. We don't use names here. We call this the Anonymous Club. But let's talk about our this or that. We had a fun poll, which I love that people participated. I love when, like, there's some polls that you put up and it's like lackluster with the votes. It's like, okay. But then there's polls that we put up and it's like people are voting. And it's fun to see, even if it's little things like this or that, about what's your favorite, like Pizza Hut and McDonald's. So let's go over that because that was fun to definitely see. And explore, and then it's fun to see the different what people vote for too, which is crazy. So we did a poll between McDonald's and Burger King. I myself am a McDonald's guy. Like, I'm sorry, Burger King makes me sick after I have it. Like, and their fries are disgusting. But I think a lot of people agreed with me because 78% voted McDonald's while 22% voted Burger King. We kept it going with the pizza, and we had Domino's up there, and we had Pizza Hut, and 70% of you guys voted Domino's, and 30% voted Pizza Hut. Although, honestly, growing up, since I was a kid, like, I prefer Pizza Hut, and I still prefer Pizza Hut. I feel like Domino's are alright, but Domino's, like, tastes like cardboard sometimes, especially when it gets cold. It's like, there's some pizzas, especially like real New York pizzas, like when they get cold, sometimes you can still eat it like lukewarm or a little or cold. I know some people are saying that's nasty, some people need to have it warm, but then there's Domino's. Now you can't eat that shit cold. Like, that shit's gross. It's like eating cardboard afterwards. So it's like, I prefer Pizza. But the majority of you guys out there following the Inner Circle page, Instagram page, voted Domino's, 70%. Moving on to with coffee versus tea. 77% of you guys voted coffee. 23% voted tea. And I asked my boy, and I was like, really, coffee? Like now, I prefer coffee before, but as I'm getting older now, I choose tea over coffee. Honestly, I prefer and enjoy I guess sipping the whole like sipping tea like in the morning with like meditating. I don't know. I'm becoming a fucking old shaman, some shit like that. But I enjoy the process of like my morning routine with my tea versus coffee. Plus, I feel like coffee before made me more sweaty and jittery and stuff. Plus, they say it's not as healthy for you, coffee. So, but 77%, y'all prefer y'all coffee. I mean, hello, Starbucks is a big enterprise for a reason. And 23% tea. Moving on to childhood, we have to throw it to our nostalgia with this or that. We put up Nickelodeon versus Disney Channel, and Nickelodeon took it. I was surprised. 69% voted Nickelodeon, while a whopping 31%, not a whopping, but a dismal 31% voted the Disney Channel. So that was a surprise. I loved both, honestly, growing up. I just feel like Disney Channel had, I don't know, I guess more money, more bigger budgets. I mean, it's fucking Disney. I don't know. But yeah, what a thing. And then there was Popeyes versus KFC. This was interesting. It went back and forth because obviously you guys know polls are out for 24 hours. So it went back and forth with one leading the other for a while. But KFC took it with 58% of you people voting for KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and 42% voting Popeyes. But it was neck and neck. That's not too much of a landslide there. I myself prefer KFC for sure. For sure. KFC is much better than Popeyes, but I can see how Popeyes is big too. I was surprised to see Popeyes in Spain. I'm like, what? I had KFC in Spain because I wanted to try it because I feel like sometimes fast foods taste different in different countries and regions. So that's why I tried KFC in Spain. And people are asking, why the hell did he go to Spain to eat KFC? Because I wanted to try it. I'm gonna try it. But yeah, there was a Popeyes in Spain too, and I was very surprised by that. So both are popular. Next, millennials will only know this. We put up, and that was, let's go back to shows from back like late 90s and early 2000s. Who remembers TRL and 106 in Park? So we put those up against each other, and I guess most of y'all remember TRL because 75% of you voted y'all preferred TRL over the 25% that voted 106 in Park. That was fun. That was definitely a fun poll, and a lot of people voted, so we appreciate that. It was fun looking at that and seeing like, ebb and flow and go back and forth, and it was fun answering your questions. It was cool to have this special episode of Ask the Homeboy Charlie right here. Asking questions. Like I said, I try to be as open and put myself out there, and I like to give advice and just try to be open and relatable. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Next week, I have a special guest joining me. Join me on the after show exclusively on YouTube. I will tell you guys who that special guest is, answer 2 or 3 more of your questions. Join me exclusively only on YouTube, the after show. Next week, we have our special guest. It's going to be a great show. Keep on springing, people. Be safe out there. See you guys next week.